Welcome back to The Explainer. So today, we're going to sit down, grab a metaphorical coffee for the mind, and untangle a super frustrating conversational trap. I mean, we've all been there, right? It's that moment where your very identity is literally weaponized against you. It's a maneuver specifically designed to make you feel completely invalidated and unheard. But we're going to look at exactly how this trick works, and way more importantly, how you can expertly shut it down. Section 1. Attacked for who you are. Okay, let's dive right into this. Think about a time when you presented a perfectly logical, well-thought-out point, but instead of actually responding to your idea, the other person suddenly brings up your background, right? They target your job, maybe your income, your age, or your life situation. Suddenly, you're not even debating the idea anymore. You're defending your right to just have an opinion. It's an incredibly disorienting feeling. You end up walking away from these interactions totally baffled, asking yourself, why do they dismiss my idea just because of who I am? Or maybe because of what I have? You put your thoughts out there in good faith, and instead of meeting you on that intellectual playing field, they just attack the ground you're standing on. It's so frustrating. Section 2. Defining the circumstantial fallacy. All right, now we're going to shift all that emotional frustration into pure intellectual empowerment. Because, the absolute best way to disarm a toxic communication tactic is to shine a massive bright light on it and give it a formal, logical name. Honestly, once you can name it, it completely loses its power over you. So the formal name for this whole shebang is the Ad Hominem Circumstantial Fallacy. This happens when someone attacks the circumstances of the person making the argument, rather than, actually engaging with the argument itself. Ad hominem is just Latin for to the person. So instead of looking at your brilliant idea, they assume your financial status, your history, your profession. They just assume that stuff automatically invalidates your point. It's this massive, lazy, logical shortcut that lets them totally avoid doing the hard work of actually debating your idea. So the crucial point is that they are completely ignoring the actual substance of your words, and instead they're favoring judging your personal circumstances. Rather than actually listening to you, they're going to target your position in the company, your wealth or lack of it, your specific profession, your cultural background, or maybe your current living situation. Basically, if your opponent can tie your argument to a circumstance in your life that kind of implies a bias, they'll use that as a total free pass to dismiss everything you just said. They aren't listening to you at all. They are literally just judging your life. Moving on to Section 3, Real-World Fallacy Examples. Let's look at how this specifically shows up in everyday life. To really master spotting this thing, we gotta see how it sneaks into normal, everyday conversations. Imagine you're in internet work, right? And you suggest this brilliant, highly researched new workflow that's going to save the company serious cash. But the response from a senior manager? Well, you wouldn't understand budgeting. You're just an intern. Wow. Notice what just happened there. The senior manager didn't point out a single actual flaw in your proposal. They didn't challenge the math. They didn't debate the logistics. Your totally valid idea was just completely dismissed by an irrelevant attack on your tenure. Honestly, probably because the manager just wanted to protect their own fragile ego instead of admitting a junior staffer had a way better idea. Or, hey, picture this one. Someone is passionately advocating for affordable housing or maybe a new environmental policy, and they're using strong data and really sound civic logic. The response they get? Well, easy for you to say you live in a wealthy neighborhood. Again, do you see it? The opponent completely sidesteps the actual policy. They don't touch the data or the civic impact at all. They just lazily reduce the speaker's entire perspective to a single socioeconomic label. And this brilliantly illustrates the core danger of the ad hominem circumstantial fallacy. There is this huge total disconnect. The actual substance of the argument, the workflow, the environmental policy, it remains completely untouched. Meanwhile, the complex, thoughtful human being presenting the argument is just reduced to a single, easily dismissible label. Just an intern. Just a wealthy person. It's literally the illusion of winning an argument without ever actually participating in one. Wild, right? Section 4. The 3-Step Defense Toolkit. Time to get our power back. So, what do we actually do about this? How do you gracefully reclaim your voice when someone tries to silence you using your own life against you? Look, we're not going to get defensive, and we're definitely not going to attack them back. Instead, we're going to use this simple toolkit to build a perfect, rock-solid conversational boundary. Step 1, acknowledge the circumstance. Step 2, redirect to the merit. And Step 3, explicitly ask for engagement. The big, overarching philosophy here. This isn't about proving your personal worth to anybody, not at all. It's about confidently insisting that ideas have to be judged on their own terms. Let's break down exactly what you're going to say for each step. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the secret to step 1. It's the sheer power of agreement. You're going to acknowledge the circumstance without even a hint of shame or defensiveness. You just own it. Yes, I am new. And yes, my background is different. Or yes, I do live in that neighborhood. By calmly agreeing with that factual circumstance they just tried to weaponize against you, you instantly disarm their attack. I mean, you take the wind right out of their sails, simply because you refuse to be embarrassed by who you are or where you happen to stand in life. Okay, so once you've owned that circumstance, you immediately pivot right into step 2, redirecting to the merit. You say something like, but let's look at the proposal itself. Does this solution actually address the problem? This is huge. It powerfully and swiftly redirects all the focus away from your identity and throws a massive spotlight glaringly back onto the actual idea. You're basically reminding everyone in the room that the idea exists totally independently of the person who spoke it. And finally, step 3. This is all about setting a really firm conversational boundary. You're going to explicitly ask for engagement. You literally just say, can we discuss the specifics of this plan rather than my personal situation? Boom. It's a brilliant rhetorical move. It firmly boundaries the conversation and honestly puts your opponent right in a corner. They are now completely forced to either engage with the actual content of your idea, or they have to implicitly admit to everyone listening that they've got absolutely no real argument against the plan itself. You just took total control of the conversational framework. Look, if you take nothing else away from this explainer today, please remember this. Your circumstances do not define the validity of your thoughts. I don't care if you're an intern, a CEO, young, old, wealthy, or struggling. Your ideas have merit. You absolutely deserve to be heard based on the strength, the logic, and the creativity of your ideas, not the totally superficial labels that other people just find convenient to slap on you. You are seen, you are valued, and your thoughts absolutely matter. Never forget that. Now, we've covered exactly what to do when they attack your background. But before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a pretty provocative question. What happens when they stop attacking your circumstances and instead they turn the mirror right back on you? Like, what if they try to silence your totally valid message by claiming hypocrisy, saying, oh yeah, but you do the exact same thing? How do you stay grounded when your own actions are used to derail a conversation about the truth? Well, that is exactly what we are going to unpack in our next explainer when we dive into the totally fascinating tu quo or you too fallacy. Trust me, you are not going to want to miss how to handle weaponized hypocrisy. Until then, stay curious, keep those boundaries super strong, and I will see you next time.